everyone. Dr. Brian Scott with you. As we continue our study on the insight to the end times, the Lord inspired me to study in this area years and years ago to determine where are we on God's timetable. The natural timetable, the doomsday clock, is at 90 seconds to midnight and has been for some years. They keep saying that they're going to move it even closer. We're getting very close to the end of time before we're going to see things like the 7 years of tribulation and the invasion of Israel by Russia and their associates, their allies. That will lead us into the very end where we have the Battle of Armageddon before Jesus comes and sets up his kingdom on earth and rules and reigns for 1,000 years. In between the battle to take Israel and the end battle with Armageddon, you got 7 years of tribulation, and I can guarantee you, you do not want to be here on the earth during that whatsoever. We're in 2 Timothy chapter 3. We're looking at the signs that Paul shared with Timothy that would define these perilous days, these perilous times in verse number 1. We are in verse number 6, and we're in the latter portion of verse number 6, and we're looking at what I call the 21st sign that Paul has given us. Here's how this verse reads out of the King James. For of this sort, referring back to verse number 5, where we're talking about religious tradition, form of godliness, no power whatsoever. Of this sort, they will creep into our houses. We studied this last session. It was digital infiltration is what we called it. And here it says they're going to creep into our houses and they're going to lead captive, or they're going to capture silly women laden with sins, led away with divers lusts. Now, boy, these terms that Paul's using may have been appropriate in first century Christianity, but today in the 21st century, this is very, very dicey words to work with. And I want to do my best here to help you understand what he's referring to. It might take us 2 sessions to do so. But I'm calling this 21st sign Soulish manipulation. In the Greek, this word to be led captive is referring to the manipulation of people in the mental, emotional, and spiritual realm. It's talking about taking them captive or manipulating them in this realm of the mind and the emotions and the spiritual realm. In other words, they're going to manipulate the person, and in this case, we're referring to women, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. They're going to manipulate them to do what they are told and do what we say and so on and so forth. And that's to their detriment, obviously. The reference silly women in the Greek meant the following. It meant that they were what we would call stay-at-home moms, stay-at-home to look after the home, the household. They were uneducated, not by choice. They weren't offered education. It was not deemed appropriate to offer education to the female side of things. So the males were educated, but not the females. These silly women were uneducated, not by choice. Therefore, they needed to have encouragement, they needed to have support, and they needed to have fellowship. So please don't misinterpret this word silly in the wrong format. It meant that they were in need of encouragement. They were in need of help, comfort, and fellowship. We'll continue tomorrow, bring you some more on this very interesting verse. I look forward to having you join us then. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.